Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chris with Digital REM. Welcome back to Live at Lunch. Live at Lunch, Chris with Digital REM. We're currently reading the Tools of Titans, and we're covering the chapter with, drum roll, let's go, the Canvas Strategy. So this won't be a interview chapter. This is more about a strategy. So we're going to cover that today in this Live at Lunch, and I believe it is a couple of other ones right after this. No, we're going right into another interview next. So the next Live at Lunch will be another interview, but this one is a strategy from the Tools of Titans. So while we give people a chance to fall up in here, let's really break down what we achieved this weekend. This was a big weekend, a lot of events happening in the area, but we were able to get the credit management ebook updated. Now, within the update, I've come to the conclusion that we're going to have a three series ebook version. So we're going to break this ebook down. Currently, it had the process from removing items from your credit, then how to build up your credit, and then how to get proper funding. We're going to break that up into 3 different ebooks. So we're going to do it like that. With that being said, so for the first tier, the first ebook is going to be available very soon. Going to do some quick proofreading, but it will be available very, very soon. As far as removing negative items from your credit report, so that includes collections and all that stuff, removing those items. That's going to be available soon. So be on the lookout for that at digitalrem.com in the shop. If you can't find it in the shop, or if you're having trouble finding it, just go to digitalrem.com, and then at the top you'll see it says shop, and under shop you'll see catalog. And catalog has everything that we offer here at Digital REM. So you'll be able to get it there at digitalrem.com as usual. Also, we will be on Dream TV. We are running live Dream TV all day throughout the week. So you'll be able to see us live on Dream TV throughout the week and get access to the course library videos that are available throughout our program. So with that being said, on Dream TV, only caveat is that all the courses are shuffled. So you might get a production course, you might get a consulting course back to back. If you want access to the actual courses where you're going from A to Z, like the process from A to Z, make sure you go to digitalrem.com and get your membership. You will have access to starter courses to get you started with starting your business and things like that. So definitely go to digitalrem.com and get your membership ASAP. All right, let's just go into this Canvas strategy, right? All right, I'm gonna just go over the highlights, and then we just rock it like that, right? So, great men have almost always shown themselves as ready to obey as they afterwards prove to be able to command. So great men are, in essence, great men are always shown themselves to be able to follow. Then, in the act of following, they become leaders. So again, I'll read it again. Great men have almost always shown themselves as ready to obey as they afterwards proved able to command. So that's a quote from Lord Mahone, right? We'll go even further into this. If you want great mentors, you have to become a great mentee. If you want to lead, you have to first learn how to follow. And it's kind of the same thing we just said, like really putting, if you want to call it pride, but knowing that there's a method to the madness, there's levels to everything. So really being able to go in at the ground level, learn as a mentee, learn the processes, learn the things that you need, that the information that you need to obtain, so you can share to the next person. So I like to think of it like this, right? I have a lot of highlights, so I'm gonna try to keep it short. I like to think of it like this, like, even though, let's think of like Mario level or something like that, like levels, right? You might be on level, you might have a mentor that's on level 5, right? And you just learned level 1, you graduate to level 2, and you're going on to level 3. This is a key for me that I had to learn. Because the mentor that's on level 5, they're going up to level 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So they're going up their ladder, you're going up your ladder right under them. Well, you have the ability, just like now, you have the ability to help somebody. When you're at level 3, you have the ability to help somebody at level 1. So I definitely on the production side growing up, or the mistake I've made for so long is that I will try to go, master all the levels and then try to create something to give back. And that's why digital REM is so important now, because it's like, okay, let me go back from all of this years of experience with production and really go back to the basics to get people started, which it would have been easier as I'm going through to just share what I'm learning as I'm going through and share the processes as I'm going through. So this is kind of a taking a step back. Like let's package all of that experience and make it digestible for somebody who's starting off at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or wherever, but at the beginning stages, and get it rocking like that. So being able to become a great mentee is key to becoming a great mentor. And that's kind of what for over the years, even in my experience before I started giving back, over the years, having those great mentors that'll teach me things in the industry that I couldn't learn through a book or something like that. They kind of are able to help you connect the dots, right? You can't Google it. You just kind of have to, the mentor goes off of experience. They go off of experience. So that's how that rock. And I'm going to continue to really keep that short, right? Okay. One of the roles was that, I'm not sure how to say this word, Anteambulo. Anteblo, literally meaning one who clears the path. And Anteblo proceeds in front of his patron anywhere they travel in Rome, making a way and communicating messages and generally making the patron's life easier. And that's essentially what digital REM is doing. Like, if you are at the beginning of stages, I'm really trying to do my best to trailblaze and make the way to make it easier for the people behind me. So that's a good characteristic of a leader, or Anteblo in this case. And that's essentially what you want to do as well. I'm not going to even speak for myself, but that's what you want to do. Whatever industry you're in, you want to be the Anteblo of that industry. And while you're blazing the trail and figuring out the processes and learning things and buying courses and, taking in information, package that information and give it back to make whoever is behind you their life that much easier to get through the process as well, without having to Google search and get information overload. You give them the processing to get them through from point A to point Z, right? Here's the problem. Like most of us with our internship at entry-level position, or later on publishers or boss, like most of us with our internships and entry-level positions. This guy named Marshall is the example, but he hated every minute of his internship. He seemed to believe that the system was somehow made him a slave, right? And you might even hear this like when people who work in restaurants or things like that, they like, I hate my job. I feel like a slave to my job. And it's really, again, like we always kind of say, it's perspective. It's your perspective on how you perceive your position. Like, you can perceive it positively or you can perceive it negatively, but it's up to you. For all the Marshall couldn't see was that it was his unique position as an outsider to society that gave him such a fascinating insight into Roman culture that it survives to this day. So I just highlighted that part. I was really trying to avoid reading this whole thing, but essentially this guy named Marshall, he works for as a country squire, and he has a different perspective, but he feels like a slave to this position. But he didn't realize the uniqueness of his perspective while working that position, because that made him valuable. But the fact that he was so attached to the idea that he's a slave to the position made him miss the opportunity that he could provide a unique perspective to that actual organization that he works for, right? It's a common attitude that transcends generations and society. The angry, unappreciated genius is forced to do stuff like he or she doesn't like, for people she doesn't respect, or she makes her or she makes her way in the world. How dare they force me to grovel like this? The injustice, the waste. Continue on the highlights. I will not let them get over on me. I'd rather we both have nothing instead. So it's kind of the same mentality. Like, you can really benefit from this whole situation. It's just really a perspective. You can have the crap. I'm pretty sure even if you haven't been part of this, haven't seen this firsthand, you might have heard of it or experienced, like I said, experienced it firsthand. But somebody who's working at the position is kind of like, they're not willing to work the position correctly or work it the proper way, and they kind of want to bring people down as well. Like, why are you being essentially like a crab in a barrel? Why are you bringing a negative environment to the workplace, and creating a negative environment in the workplace? That's kind of what I get from that. So this kind of puts it in perspective. We get into this part. Everyone from Michelangelo to Leonardo da Vinci to Benjamin Franklin has been forced to navigate such a system. But if you're going to be a big deal, if you're going to be the big deal that you think you are going to be, isn't this a rather trivial temporary imposition? So he's basically saying, like, you're able to be apprentice, you're able to be a mentee, you're able to take in information. If you feel you're so great, like this position is beneath you, isn't this temporary position only a small fraction of the bigger picture? So what if you're so much greater than that actual position, then take the information you can from that position until you grow out of that position. But it's no reason to rock the boat or make that negative energy in that environment. I'm big on energy, but being in that negative energy in that environment, because again, when you become that this is going back to another lesson, but when you become that negative energy, that doesn't attract positive energy. That attracts more negative energy. So you want to continue to attract positive energy, and keeping that mind frame, even when you're working these internships or things like that, keeping that mind frame like, let me see what I can get out of this. I know I'm more talented than this position, but let me see what I can learn from this. Let me see how this can help me put another notch under my belt as far as my experience, and how it can help me get to the next level. Right? All right. I'm gonna just read this whole thing, right? When someone gets his first job or joins a new organization, he's often given this advice: make other people look good, and you will do well. Keep your head down, they say, and serve your boss. Naturally, this is not what the kid who was chosen over all the other kids for the position wants to hear. It's not what a Harvard grad expects. After all, they got the degree precisely to avoid this supposed indignity, right? So they have ingrained in them this sense of pride, this sense of, this sense of pride, like ego, even this sense of ego. Let's flip it around. So it doesn't seem so demeaning. So this is flipping around. They have this sense of ego. This flipping it on the other side, getting a different perspective. Let's flip it around. So it doesn't seem so demeaning. It's not about kissing ass. It's not about making someone look good. It's about providing the support so the others can be good. The better wording for the advice is this: find canvases for other people to paint on. Be back to that word, antibulo. I wish I knew how to pronounce this word. Antibulo, whatever. Clear the path for the people above you, and you will eventually create a path for yourself. When you are just starting out, we can be sure a few fundamental realities. You're not nearly as good at or as important as you think you are. 2, you have an attitude that needs to be readjusted. 3, most of what you think you know, or most of what you've learned in books or in school, is out of date or wrong. So before I continue to highlight, I'm gonna just continue to highlight. There's one fabulous way to work all of all of that out of your system. Attach yourself to people or organizations who are already successful. Subsume your identity into theirs and move both forward simultaneously. It's certainly more glamorous to pursue your own glory, though hardly as effective. Obedience is the way forward. So again, he's saying like find somebody who has your common goal. Find somebody who you where you aspire to be, and align yourself with them, and don't worry about getting the glory, being the front face of the whole push, or the whole thing, I guess you could say. Because we live in this day and age of social media where everybody wants to be the star, but sometimes helping boost the person who's above you creates a path for you. I bring that up. Do I want to continue? Yeah, I can continue on. I bring that up because you could just think, if you want to put it in perspective, you could think, if you're helping the person that you're aspiring to be, if you're helping them boost them to a certain level, or helping them in whatever way you can help them, they're becoming you're conditioning them to see you. You're conditioning them to, I wouldn't say become reliant, but seek your services, seek what you offer, and then whatever you can offer them, you can offer to the next person. So that again blazes your own trail by just helping somebody else. You able to find a path that you can go on as your own entity, because you help the person at this level achieve something. So now you can help multiple people at that same level achieve the exact same thing, or at least provide the same exact service, right? So boom. This is Benjamin Franklin. Saw the constant benefit of making other people look good and letting them take credit for his ideas. Right? That's Benjamin Franklin, right? So this is just a tip. If he wanted to give his coach, like if somebody's over you, like your mentor or your coach, if you're in sports, or your coach or somebody like that, he's talking about Bill Belichick here. But if you want to give them advice or give them feedback or something like that, do it. Don't do it in front of everybody. Do it, if you want to say, behind closed doors, or do it when it's private. Don't in front. Do it in front of everybody. So let's just read it. If he wanted to give his coach feedback or question a decision, he needed to do it in private and self-effacingly, I'm not sure how to say that, so as not to offend his superior. He learned how to be a rising star without threatening or alienating anyone. In other words, he has mastered the canvas strategy. You can see how easily entitlement and sense of superiority, the trappings of ego, would have made the accomplishments of either of these men impossible. That's Benjamin Franklin and Bill Belichick, I believe. Yeah, Bill Belichick. So again, learning how to navigate the politics. I know me getting into the business world, or not even the business world, getting into the professional world. You need to learn how to navigate politics in a way. So again, you can have great ideas, and if your director is like, that your director has I wouldn't say have an ego, but if your director, it's kind of better to go ahead, take your director to the side, be like, oh, this will be a great idea, present it to them, and then, let them get the glory for it. They're going to continue to come back for your resources. But then eventually it's going to bubble up to the top to his superiors, that the person, one of his designers or one of his production team people are actually bubbling up these ideas, which opens up opportunities for you outside of that team as well. So again, it's just really a lot of ways to really just to understand this and take it on your own perspective. I only can take it from my perspective as far as from a production background, but you can probably see some of the similarities with whatever profession that you were in. So greatness comes from humble beginnings. It comes from the grunt work. It means you're the least important person in the room until you change that with results. So actions always speak louder words. You change that with results. Like, don't get on talking about it. Don't say you're the greatest or anything like that. Just change it with results. Like, at the end of the day, greatness comes from humble beginnings. And you can probably notice that in people that, people who don't have some people who don't have humble beginnings, they're a little more they have a little more I wouldn't say ego, but they have a little more entitlement to somebody in comparison to somebody with humble beginnings. They're like, I'm appreciative of the opportunity. I'm appreciative of the information. I'm appreciative of all the things, because now I can see how I can work with this, raw material to create my own path. So, there's an old saying, say little, do much. What we really ought to do is update and apply a version of this to our early approach. Be lesser, do more. Imagine if for every person you met, you thought of some way to help them, something you could do for them, and you looked at it in a way that entirely benefited them and not you. The cumulative effect this would have over time would be profound. You learn a great deal by solving diverse problems. You develop a reputation for being indispensable. You'd have countless relationships. You'd have an enormous bank of favors to call upon down the road. That's what the Canvas strategy is about. Helping yourself by helping others. Making a concerted effort to trade your short-term gratification for longer-term payoffs. So again, that's essentially what the Canvas strategy is. Like, putting your ego aside, putting your pride aside, playing, if you want to call it playing your position, but playing your position and making yourself indispensable. Once you become indispensable, now your actions speak louder than words, and people seek you out because now you're indispensable. You've helped so many people along the path, and now you have resources to tap into, because you just help. For one, you have information resources to tap into, because through the process of helping somebody, you've gained knowledge on a new process, or a process that you didn't have knowledge on before, or if you did, you get in practice on that process. And then two, you've helped somebody, so now they were like, it's kind of like scratch my back, I scratch yours. And I'm not necessarily saying that you should expect something from them, but more than likely it will be reciprocated back to you. Like, oh, remember I helped you with that, and later on down the road you might need them to help you with something that they can help you with easily because they've been down the process. So really building up that bank of resources and a bank of information is very valuable, and it all starts with just helping other people, because when you help other people, they have a lot of problems that a lot of other people have. So upon helping them, you have the ability to help so many other people. And that's where the video course library really comes into play, because in helping one person, you can document that and make that digestible to help the next person and help the next person, where now you don't have to feel pulled in multiple different directions by multiple different people. If you create the resource for them to go to and point them to it, like, here's a resource for you to have. And pretty much I'm gonna let that be for this chapter. Actually, I'm gonna read this last one, because this one ended pretty good, right? All right. See, my phone agrees with me, right? All right, he says, in other words, discover opportunities to promote their creativity. This is for people that you're helping. In other words, discover opportunities to promote their creativity. Find outlets and people for collaboration, and eliminate distractions that hinder their progress and focus. So this is what you want to provide to other people, right? Because if you pick this mantle once, you'll see what most people's egos prevent them from appreciating. The person who clears the path ultimately controls its direction, just as the canvas shapes the painting. So essentially, helping all of these people, that's what I really want to read, the last part. The person who clears the path ultimately controls the direction, just as the canvas shapes the painting. So just think of let's think hypothetically, but if you're helping all of these people, these that are your mentors or whoever, you're helping all of these people, okay, you're creating the culture, or you're shaping, what do we call it? Shaping the pretty much shaping the path, shaping the direction of all these people. So now you're able to veer and, you know, make the direction the way you want it to go, because now you've helped so many people and they're relying on you to continue to help them through their process or help them get to the next stage. So you're able to see these opportunities where now you can blaze your own path to help more people. So at the end of the day, that's what I'm really gonna how I'm gonna wrap it up. Again, this was just what was considered the canvas strategy for Live at Lunch. Definitely trying to get back into the swing of things. Had a long weekend, but it was pretty nice. Definitely can't complain. But with that being said, make sure you go to digitalrem.com. Go to digitalrem.com. Get your free membership while it is free. Get your free membership, and you'll have access to Dream TV, and you'll have access to the Digital Rem Discord server. So you'll be able to do that as well. But we do have different tiers that you can access as well. But I'm just saying, get your free membership, because then you will have access to the Start Your Business course for all the members. And the Start Your Business course shows you from A to Z how to start your business, how to actually do it yourself, register your LLC, get your EIN number, get your DUNS number, get your your registered agents, stuff like that. So again, pretty much how to do that all yourself with the course. So it'll walk you through that. But with that being said, make sure you do that one thing today. Do that one thing that takes you closer to your goals. And we're going to get this energy ramp back up. But definitely do that one thing that takes you closer to your goals today. And all of y'all have a blessed day. Later, y'all. Peace.